Death is the one certainty we all face, and with it comes the inevitable decay of the body. Over time, even the strongest among us return to dust, claimed by nature's unrelenting cycle. But what if that process didn't happen? What if someone's body remained mysteriously unchanged? Could it be a miracle? Or is there a scientific explanation behind this phenomenon? Join us as we uncover the chilling story of a Catholic nun who died 140 years ago, yet whose body is said to remain mysteriously unchanged by time. A life of faith amidst adversity. Catholicism is one of the most widely practiced religions around the globe, known for its deep traditions and rich history. Yet, it also carries an air of mystery, filled with stories that can seem beyond our understanding. Throughout the years, many events have occurred that challenge the limits of logic and reason. One striking example is the remarkable life and death of Bernadette Soubirous, Saint Bernadette of Lourdes. Born Bernadette Soubirous on January 7, 1844, emerged from humble beginnings to become a beacon of faith and devotion. Born in the Boli Mill to Françoise Soubirous and Louise Castereau, who married for love, she was the couple's first child and heir. Her early years were filled with love and warmth, nurturing a strong and balanced character that would later guide her through the trials of life. However, the tranquility of her childhood was soon disrupted. Bernadette's family faced poverty, and her health began to decline. At just 14 years old, she stood only 1.4 meters tall and suffered from asthma, which often left her breathless. Despite these challenges, Bernadette possessed a lively and generous spirit. Her witty personality and genuine nature shone through, though her pride sometimes complicated her relationships. Mother Vauzou in Nevers noted her closed character and sensitivity, reflecting the inner turmoil Bernadette faced as she struggled against her perceived faults. Education was not a luxury afforded to her. Bernadette helped her Aunt Bernard instead of attending school. Lacking formal instruction, she could neither read nor write by the age of 14. This exclusion deeply affected her, but rather than succumbing to despair, she found resilience in her faith. In September 1857, Bernadette was sent to Bartre, where she began to cultivate her spiritual life. Her desire for a deeper connection with God grew stronger, particularly as she yearned to make her first communion. Her moment of transformation arrived on January 21st, 1858, when she returned to Lourdes. Here, she finally made her first communion, a milestone that would solidify her faith and commitment. Saint Bernadette's divine encounter. The pivotal moment arrived for Saint Bernadette on February 11, 1858, when the 14-year-old Bernadette was gathering firewood near the grotto of Massabielle in Lourdes, France. Little did she know that this day would mark the beginning of a profound spiritual journey that would impact countless lives across generations. On that fateful day, while with her sister and a friend, Bernadette was struck by an extraordinary sight. A brilliant light that illuminated the grotto, revealing a beautiful lady dressed in white with a blue sash. This vision would be the first of 18 apparitions that Bernadette would claim to witness over the next several months, leading to an extraordinary chapter in both her life and the history of the Catholic Church. At first, confusion gripped her. Was it her imagination? Or had she truly witnessed something divine? Demonstrating remarkable discernment, Bernadette blinked and looked around, striving to grasp what she experienced. Seeking confirmation, she turned to her companions, asking, "Did you see anything?" In this moment of doubt, Bernadette instinctively reached for her rosary, turning to God for solace and understanding. With a heart full of innocence, she confided in Father Pomian, expressing, "I saw something white in the form of a lady." When questioned by Commissioner Jacomet about her experience, her response was strikingly composed. "Acero, I didn't say the Holy Virgin." "Monsieur, you've changed it all," she firmly stated, revealing her impressive ability to articulate her vision without embellishment. Bernadette's accounts of the apparitions were marked by clarity and precision. She never altered her story, regardless of external pressures. Despite facing skepticism and intimidation, Bernadette's unwavering honesty stood out. When challenged by Father Peramale, she calmly reminded him, "Father, the lady always asks for a chapel, even a very small one." In a pastoral letter discussing the apparitions, Monsignor Lawrence noted Bernadette's simplicity, the candor, the modesty that defined her character. The young girl conveyed her experiences with a touching innocence and confidence, leaving no room for doubt about her sincerity. Even in the face of potential threats and offers of wealth, Bernadette remained steadfast in her resolve, insisting on her truth and the purity of her testimony. As the media storm intensified, Bernadette found herself in the public eye, facing curious onlookers and reporters eager to dissect her every word. Yet, she managed to navigate this chaotic environment with a mix of patience and humor. "I want to remain poor," she declared, refusing any compensation for her experiences. When offered rosaries to bless, she declined, stating, "I don't wear a stole." Even when images of her were sold for a few sous, she reflected with a smile, 10 sous, that's all I'm worth." Recognizing the toll this attention took on Bernadette, Father Pere Mallet and the mayor, Anselme Lacadet, agreed on a course of action. Bernadette would be admitted as a sick, poor person to the hospice run by the Sisters of Nevers. On July 15, 1860, at the tender age of 16, Bernadette began a new chapter in her life. There, she learned to read and write, leaving behind traces of her practice at Bartras Church. She wrote letters to her family and even to the Pope, all the while caring for the sick and contemplating her future. Eventually, Bernadette joined the Sisters of Nevers, a choice influenced by their respectful approach. Deep within, she sensed that her mission in Lourdes was complete. It was time to step back and allow Mary's presence to shine. In this withdrawal, Bernadette found peace, embracing her spiritual journey and the legacy of faith she had inspired in so many. Through her simple yet profound experiences, Bernadette Soubirous became a beacon of hope and devotion, her story echoing through the ages. During her encounters with the Lady, Bernadette received messages that were simple yet profound. The Lady emphasized the importance of prayer, penance, and the call to draw closer to God. One of the most notable instructions came during one of the apparitions when Bernadette was told to dig in the ground and drink from a spring that would miraculously appear. Among the many significant moments in Bernadette's visions, one stood out during the 16th apparition. When she inquired about the Lady's identity, the response was monumental. "I am the Immaculate Conception." This declaration was deeply significant within Catholic theology, as it refers to the belief that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was conceived without original sin. The weight of this phrase not only affirmed Bernadette's experiences, but also solidified her role as a messenger of divine grace. As the apparitions continued, Bernadette's persistence in sharing her experiences began to shift public perception. Despite the fame and recognition her visions brought, Bernadette maintained a life of humility and seclusion, Bernadette's divine protector. Along with the heavenly messages Bernadette received came the burden of secrecy. She was instructed to keep certain revelations confidential, a challenge heightened by the intense scrutiny she faced from skeptics and the curious. It was within this context that the figure of Saint Joseph became her protector, a steadfast guardian shielding her from the prying eyes of those who sought to exploit her experiences. André Doze explains in his book, Saint Joseph in the Life of Saint Bernadette of Lourdes, that just as Saint Joseph was entrusted with the sacred duty of concealing the identities of Mary and Jesus, Bernadette found solace and safety in his presence. Saint Joseph's role as the quiet, unassuming guardian of the Holy Family mirrored Bernadette's own desire to live in humility and secrecy. She once told a sister, "I have come here to hide myself," highlighting her wish to retreat into the shelter of divine protection rather than seek fame or recognition. As Bernadette transitioned from Lourdes to Nevers, her focus shifted away from the extraordinary events of her youth to a more profound commitment to God. She expressed this sentiment clearly in her 1871 notebook. "What concerns me no longer concerns me. I must be from now on entirely to God and only to God. Never for myself." This statement underscores her deep desire to detach from her past and dedicate herself wholly to a life of faith and service. In her daily life, Bernadette's devotion to Saint Joseph often surfaced in quiet, intimate moments. One sister recalled witnessing Bernadette kneeling before a statue of Saint Joseph while praying for her. When pointed out, Bernadette simply replied, "In heaven, no one is jealous." This statement reflects her understanding of harmony and unity in the divine realm. where the focus is solely on serving God without envy or rivalry. Another instance that illustrates her relationship with Saint Joseph occurred when a novice sought her guidance on prayer. Bernadette advised her, "Say, Saint Joseph, teach me how to pray." This simple yet profound instruction highlights her belief in the gentle guidance and fatherly love that Saint Joseph offered not only to her, but to all seeking a closer connection to God. The passing of Bernadette's father, François, was a significant turning point in her life. His death left a profound void in her heart, and her grief, she often sought solace in the chapel of Saint Joseph, located in the garden of her convent. This chapel became a sacred space where she could pour out her heart to her father, whom she had come to view as a spiritual connection through Saint Joseph. In a light-hearted moment, she reassured a sick sister, "I am going to pay my father a visit now," before clarifying, "Don't you know that my father is now Saint Joseph?" The most poignant expression of Bernadette's reliance on Saint Joseph came during her final days. In 1879, she endured excruciating pain from an open tumor on her knee. On March 19th, the feast of Saint Joseph, she fervently prayed for the grace to die a holy death, seeking the strength to face her suffering with dignity. Doze notes that this plea for divine assistance was not in vain. On April 16th, just a month later, Bernadette drew upon her last reserves of energy and prayed twice, "Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for me, a poor sinner," before closing her eyes in serene acceptance. In those final moments, Bernadette's life came full circle. Just as Saint Joseph had faithfully protected the Holy Family, so too did he envelop Bernadette in his comforting presence as she transitioned from this world to the next. She passed away peacefully at the age of 35, embodying the grace and humility that defined her life. A journey of faith and miracles. Following her passing, the nuns of St. Gildard, with the support of the Bishop of Nevers, sought permission from civil authorities to bury Bernadette's body in a small chapel dedicated to Saint Joseph, located within the convent. On April 25, 1879, they received the necessary approval, and just 5 days later, the local prefect confirmed the site for her burial. On May 3, 1879, a simple ceremony was held to transfer Bernadette's coffin to the crypt of the chapel. This marked the beginning of a profound legacy that would see her body exhumed 3 times during the canonization process. In 1909, 1919, and finally in 1925. Each exhumation revealed astonishing details about her state of preservation that would astonish the faithful and medical professionals alike. The first exhumation in 1909 showcased an incredible phenomenon. 30 years after her burial, Bernadette's body remained largely incorrupt. On September 22nd, 2 doctors and a sister from the community examined her remains. They noted that while the crucifix and rosary she had carried had oxidized, her body appeared to be remarkably well preserved. The skin retained a color similar to that of a living person, leading the church to officially declare her body incorrupt, a miracle that significantly bolstered her canonization efforts. Following this examination, Bernadette's body was washed, dressed, and placed in a new double casket. However, this was not the end of her posthumous journey. The church exhumed her body again on April 3, 1919. According to the attending doctor, the state of her remains was astonishing. He reported that her body was practically mummified, covered with patches of mildew and a notable layer of calcium salts. Although some skin had disappeared, most parts of her body remained intact. A particularly curious detail emerged during this examination. Her liver, which is typically soft and prone to rapid decomposition, was still soft and almost normal in consistency after 46 years. The doctor noted this anomaly, suggesting that it could not be explained by natural processes alone. Concerned about the appearance of her remains for the many pilgrims who sought to pay their respects, it was decided that Bernadette would receive a light wax mask to cover her blackened face. The new facial features were crafted by Pierre Imans, a designer known for creating fashion mannequins in Paris. In 1925, Bernadette's body was exhumed yet again, and this time relics were sent to Rome. Imprints of her face and hands were made to create a wax mask for her body, which would now be displayed in a golden crystal reliquary in the chapel of Saint Bernadette. at the Mother House in Nevers. The culmination of her remarkable journey came on December 8, 1933, when the Church proclaimed her a saint. This recognition was not merely for her selection as a visionary, but for how she responded to the grace bestowed upon her. Canonized by Pope Pius XI, Bernadette's visions and the veneration of Mary as Our Lady of Lourdes became pillars of her enduring legacy. The special feast honoring Saint Bernadette was officially set for February 11th. This celebration received approval from Pope Leo XIII and was first celebrated in the Diocese of Tarbes in 1890. Just under 2 decades later, on November 13, 1907, Pope Saint Pius X, who succeeded Leo XIII, declared that this important feast should be celebrated by all churches around the world. This decision helped spread devotion to Saint Bernadette, making her memory a cherished part of the Catholic faith everywhere. The miraculous spring of Lourdes. One of the most immediate and tangible impacts of Bernadette's visions was the emergence of a miraculous spring at the grotto. Following the lady's guidance, Bernadette discovered a spring that had been unknown to the townsfolk. The water from this spring quickly gained a reputation for its healing properties, leading to numerous reports of miraculous cures. Intrigued by the miraculous claims surrounding the water discovered by Bernadette, Anselme Lacadé sought to determine its properties through scientific scrutiny. A professor from Toulouse conducted the examination, revealing that the water was remarkably pure, containing essential elements such as oxygen, nitrogen, and traces of minerals like iodine and ammonia. This analysis sparked hopes that Lourdes could evolve into a prominent spa destination, competing with neighboring towns like Cauterets and Bagnères de Bigorre. In the 1850s, local builders hastily constructed makeshift bathing facilities, responding to the increasing number of pilgrims seeking healing. Initially, there were only 2 simple pools filled by a manual pump. By 1880, a more substantial wooden bathing house emerged, housing 14 pools, or piscines. The evolution of the baths continued into the late 19th century, with new facilities constructed and adorned with blue tiles similar to the Virgin Mary. These enhancements were essential for accommodating the ever-growing number of pilgrims, with the latest upgrades taking place in 1955, 1972, and 1980. The current bathing area comprises 17 cubicles, providing an essential service to approximately 350,000 visitors each year. Despite its cold temperature of around 12 degrees Celsius, the immersion lasts about a minute, during which prayers are recited, and veneration of a nearby statue of the Virgin Mary is encouraged. This moment of spiritual connection, aided by volunteer attendants, remains a vital aspect of the Lourdes experience. Today, Lourdes water flows continuously from a spring within the grotto where it was first discovered. With a maximum flow rate of 40 liters per minute, the water is collected in a cistern and dispensed through taps near the shrine, allowing pilgrims to drink it or fill containers to take home. The original spring, beautifully illuminated from below and safeguarded by a glass screen, continues to attract visitors drawn by the promise of healing and hope. In recent years, improvements to the distribution of Lourdes water have been implemented, enhancing the pilgrimage experience. A series of taps arranged in a circular formation around the upper basilica now allows for easier access. Additionally, the introduction of the water walk in 2002 along the Gave River invites pilgrims to reflect and meditate at various stations named after the Virgin Mary, deepening the spiritual journey. Despite modern regulations that restrict the transportation of Lourdes water on flights, the tradition of bringing this sacred liquid to loved ones endures. Pilgrims often fill containers, carrying gallons of water back to family and friends who are unable to make the journey. The enduring appeal of Lourdes lies not just in its healing properties, but in the deep sense of community and faith it fosters among its visitors. The Sanctuary of Lourdes. The legacy of Saint Bernadette continues to resonate profoundly through the Sanctuary of Our Lady of Lourdes, or Sanctuaire de Notre-Dame de Lourdes. Located in the quaint town of Lourdes, nestled in the Hautes-Pyrénées region of France, this sacred site attracts millions of pilgrims annually. At the heart of the sanctuary lies the Grotto of Massabielle, the spot where Bernadette's apparitions are said to have occurred. For many, this grotto is the most revered place in the sanctuary, and it has become a symbol of hope and faith worldwide. Replicas of the grotto have been constructed in various countries, giving the faithful a connection to Lourdes, even from afar. The sanctuary spans a vast 52-hectare area and houses 3 magnificent basilicas. The Basilica of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, often called the Upper Basilica, the Rosary Basilica, referred to as the Lower Basilica, and the Basilica of St. Pius X, an underground basilica. Each of these places of worship offers its unique experience of spiritual reverence. The Upper Basilica, with its towering spires, stands as a symbol of the grandeur of faith, while the Rosary Basilica enchants visitors with its intricate mosaics. Meanwhile, the underground Basilica of St. Pius X provides a vast, modern space for large gatherings, capable of holding up to 25,000 people at once. Beyond the basilicas and the grotto, the sanctuary also boasts a large esplanade for outdoor processions, especially the famous candlelit processions that take place each evening. These processions, with thousands of pilgrims holding candles and praying in unison, are a sight to behold, embodying a deep sense of unity and devotion. A Calvary, representing the Stations of the Cross, offers pilgrims a chance for meditation and reflection as they walk the path symbolizing Christ's journey to his crucifixion. Administered by the Roman Catholic Diocese of Tarbes-et-Lourdes, the sanctuary is well equipped to handle the needs of its many visitors. Various facilities offer accommodations for sick pilgrims, ensuring they can participate fully in the devotional activities, often with the assistance of volunteer helpers. The sense of community and compassion felt within the sanctuary walls is as palpable as the religious fervor itself. Lourdes, with its spiritual magnetism and deeply rooted history, remains one of the most visited Catholic pilgrimage sites in the world, drawing around 4 million visitors each year. The mystery of incorruptibility. Incorruptibility is a unique and fascinating phenomenon recognized by the Catholic Church, where the bodies of certain saints defy the natural process of decomposition. This rare occurrence is considered a sign of exceptional holiness, believed to reflect divine favor and the saint's close connection with God. The Catholic Church views incorruptibility as a testament to a life of spiritual purity, often sparking wonder among both believers and the scientific community. For a body to be declared incorrupt, it must remain preserved without the use of artificial preservation methods like embalming. This resistance to decay can occur immediately after death or even decades later. Interestingly, the Church does not require that the entire body remain intact. Sometimes only significant body parts, such as the heart or hands, are preserved. Such preservation is seen as a miraculous sign, reinforcing the saint's legacy of virtue and devotion. Incorruptibility is not viewed as a standalone criterion for sainthood. The Church thoroughly examines the saint's life, virtues, and any miracles attributed to their intercession. However, when a saint's body is found to be incorrupt, it serves as a powerful physical manifestation of their spiritual purity and closeness to God. This is why incorrupt saints are often revered by the faithful, who see them as tangible evidence of the divine at work. Saint Bernadette's life is a particularly poignant example of this phenomenon. Despite her frail health and the challenges she faced, Bernadette remained steadfast in her faith, a devotion that continues to inspire millions around the world. Her incorrupt body, preserved against the natural decay of time, stands as a symbol of her unwavering faith and her special relationship with the divine. Saint Bernadette is just one among many saints whose bodies have remained incorrupt after death. In the 20th century, a Capuchin priest named Saint Padre Pio became known worldwide for the stigmata on his hands, wounds that mirrored those of Christ's crucifixion. The stigmata is perhaps one of the most visually striking manifestations of a saint's deep connection to the divine, but it was not the only miraculous aspect of Padre Pio's life. As a confessor and spiritual guide, Padre Pio's insight seemed to go beyond the natural, touching the lives of countless individuals who sought his counsel. People claimed he could read their hearts and offer healing beyond physical ailments. His profound holiness was reflected in his constant prayer and dedication to the Church, making him a figure of tremendous influence. After he died in 1968, an event added to his already mysterious legacy. When his body was exhumed many years later, it showed signs of preservation, a condition often associated with the phenomenon of incorruptibility. For many Catholics, this miraculous preservation is seen as a divine sign, an indication of sanctity and favor from God upon him. Skeptics, however, have long debated whether the preservation could be attributed to natural factors, such as embalming techniques or environmental conditions. Regardless of scientific curiosity, the incorruptibility of saints like Padre Pio elicits a sense of wonder, awe, and mystery. It leaves a profound impression on believers and seekers alike, blending faith and science into an unresolved enigma. Saint Teresa of Avila, a 16th-century Spanish nun and mystic, provides another example of incorruptibility, one that has captivated believers for centuries. A doctor of the Church, Saint Teresa is renowned for her writings on mystical experiences, often describing profound spiritual ecstasies and visions that she encountered. Her contributions to Catholic thought and theology made her a pivotal figure in the Church, but her life took on an even more mystical dimension after her death in 1582. When her body was exhumed years later, it was found in a state of remarkable preservation. Many considered this to be a sign of her extraordinary holiness and divine grace. The incorrupt bodies of saints like Saint Bernadette, Saint Teresa, and Padre Pio serve as physical manifestations of their continued presence in the spiritual kingdom, offering hope and inspiration to the faithful. Despite its spiritual significance, the phenomenon of incorruptibility has also attracted scientific attention. Some researchers have sought to explain these preserved bodies through natural causes, such as mummification, embalming, or environmental factors like dry climates. These theories, while offering possible explanations, often fall short in the eyes of believers who view the incorruptibility of saints as a divine intervention. The debate between the scientific and spiritual interpretations of incorruptibility underscores a broader question of how humans perceive and understand the supernatural. For those who approach these cases with faith, incorruptibility is not merely a biological curiosity, but a powerful affirmation of their beliefs. It suggests that there is something beyond the transient nature of life on Earth, something that points toward the divine. For skeptics, it is an unresolved puzzle, one that science may never fully explain. Whether seen as a miraculous sign or an unexplained anomaly, the incorruptibility of saints continues to inspire awe and contemplation, pointing to the mysteries that lie beyond human understanding. Could the incorruptibility of saints be a divine sign that transcends the limits of human understanding, or is it a mystery science has yet to fully unravel? Let us know your opinion in the comments below.